Good evening. We're back. We're back, and I'm so happy to be back. It's Reverend Tiny here with Elle, and we're going to talk about strength tonight and some other things. Elle?
Welcome back. Welcome back. We're going to get us started with just reminding you all that you can book your appointment with Reverend Tiny for your recovery life coaching. Check the description for all the information that you need to know to book your appointment today. We're going to head into our first segment with 50 years of hip hop, the crack epidemic, and the trauma left behind. As our Reverend Jewell stated to us, we are going to be talking about the major arcana strength. So let's get into it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know y'all heard in the background. All of a sudden, I needed water, which I knew to get the water beforehand, and I waited. My apologies to the family. That just means y'all gonna learn some patience tonight, because you know when you get older, it's like, no, y'all gotta wait. Like, I done got hot for no reason.
Isn't she just overwhelmed? Came over.
Now I done asked the spirits to come in and help me, these energies, and Lord, they was like, here I am. I'm about to ready to get on the good foot, like, oh shit, Jesus
Say
is
what you
here.
want. This is what you want.
Is that what you want? Be careful what you ask for, because you get it. I do. Lord, look, and it ain't even nothing to be sorry about. I'm hot. I'm hot all of a sudden. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they call it a private summer.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nothing private about my summer. Ain't nothing private about it.
Another Africa. Another
Yeah.
Africa.
Oh, I
All
love
right.
it.
Well, you got some water. Let's get it together. All right, then.
It
So,
took.
in your experience doing the crack, I'm curious about how are you embodying the strength card? Or can you tell us a little bit about what the major arcana strength is, first of all?
Yes, baby. Okay. The strength. Now this one, and usually the strength card is a lady, an empress, a queen, calming or soothing a lion. And that really speaks to the strength of our women of color. The sun is out. When I think about what the major arcana means is walking into any situation and changing that energy for the positive, especially negative things, and let's just speak to walking into an argument and being able to calm that person down with the tone, how you look at somebody, and your mind with your intent. Another thing to be aware of is, during the crack epidemic and the experiences of all of these prejudicial things and being stacked against us as a people, as a nation, how we overcame that with the mind. In the judicial system, you have to have strength. There's no other way to put it when I think about that era, which is still going on. But the 70s, I was born in the 70s, so the 80 and the 90s, and the 80s is where it really just changed the whole paradigm, because it was no longer freebase, which is a cleaner drug. It was mixed with other things that was changing the minds and leaving our people behind overnight, right? You got doctors and lawyers and, people of good standing that take a hit and don't come back from it. So the ones that, like me, that made it to Africa, I realized that the strength for me was in the most high. I would speak to my energies at, all I knew then was Jehovah or my mom, and I would swear, or my aunties, I would swear that I would hear them talking to me. Tiny, you fucking up. And that's why I'm Reverend Tiny, because it speaks to my trials as a child in the street of being a prisoner of war, being violated, and always having to look up to the skies for something better to get me out of these situations, because I always wanted something better. I always knew that the life that I was living was not for me. I always just wanted to make my mama proud, even though she was dead. I still wanted her to be proud of me. And even that takes strength and courage to even have that mind frame, because it's easily to give up. And people give up. And that's when we have to call on our higher power. And that's why we petition for others to keep having the strength that it takes, because it's not easy. It's not easy. And soothing the lion, that's everyday life for us as a people. We walking into these institutions of learning and jobs. Every day we're faced with a battle that we have to use discernment with our strength, because within our own power it could turn bad too, right? We could misuse our strength. There's so much to be said. I don't want to go all the way off and jump off the diving board, but we very well could. But I'd like to speak to how do we bring strength and back to our people as a collective, and that we keep coming, and that we keep growing stronger, and that we're not identifying our Black awareness as niggas and hoes and bitches and this and that, but we have a like mind to uplift and upbuild everyone in their spiritual, soul searching energy of love, of being strength, of love, of strength, of being respected, and honoring the divinity in each one of us. Um, I really want that. Intentionally making that my life's efforts, especially with the young ones that I've worked with in the past, and bringing them up to my mind, calling them up and petitioning that they still are holding that strength and being space holders for them, as well as the young people that I'm meeting here in Africa. Being young girls, I see myself in these young women. You see them carrying the babies on their backs, and babies on their sides, and that's strength. But just saying a word of gratitude, and
Mm.
encouragement, and keep going. I know it's hard now, but it will get better. And you think about the cultural identity around Blackness and how it's been dismantled and disrespected. And we talked about this earlier, as how do we just keep that strength going? And it's been so just torn apart, just ripped to shreds. And why does it? We're in a system where you can't be native, can't be national, you can't be African, because I wasn't born in Africa. So can we just be human and respect and honor the divinity in that? That's another strength card. That's pulling in that strength. That's what we have to do. Um, I'm looking at my notes, like, what else did I want to say about strength? Keep
I have
on.
a question. Yeah, I have a
Mhm.
question, and I just want to maybe tie it back to the fool's journey. As we are along this fool's journey, especially within the tarot deck, when we arrive here at strength, what does that actually mean as a part of us being fools along this journey? Where are we arriving when we arrive at strength? What is happening to our conscience, to our mind, and our body and our hearts?
That's a good question, Elton. I'm glad you asked that question, because when we go through the major arcana as the fool's journey, and you learn how to use your magic, and with the magi being number one, and the empress and the emperor and the ruling and the hierophant, and institutions, the strength, you look back and you had to use all those archetypes to get you where you are, to call in discernment
Mm.
saying the right thing at the right time, being at the right place at the right time, using your strength in good ways. Like I said, you could use your strength and it'll be an abuse of power. But in the fool's journey, it's at that arriving to a heightened level of consciousness where you make the right decisions at the right time in that moment, and then you're not going back on them. You're standing in your power. And it's just like you're a queen. When you walk in a room, you get respected automatically because you're standing in your power. And that's what the strength is: holding space, knowing who you are, and standing on it 10 toes down. Definitely. Definitely. I see, there's about a couple stories that just went through my mind so quick where I ain't no punk. We eat tears for lunch. You want to do me? You don't even know who you fucking when you want to do me. I'm sorry. But if I didn't have the tenacity that I did, I wouldn't have made it in the streets. I wouldn't have made it. There is no way you can make it. The game is cold. And
Mm.
I'm gonna leave it just like that. The game is cold,
Mm.
right? It, and it is what it is. We talk about it, and it's like, I'm let me pop my collar. I made it.
Hey, give thanks. Give
Give
thanks.
thanks.
Give thanks.
No, no, this for the new generation. We pop collars. Give thanks. They don't know what that is. We getting down and dirty in here, right? That's Reverend Tiny, right? You speaking to a real one, right?
Hey,
I
one
ain't,
thing about it, two
you
things
know,
for sure. You speaking with the real deal right now, Reverend Tiny in the building,
uh,
from
yeah.
coast to coast, eh?
From coast to, man, I done lived on the east and the west, and then on the continent, I'm still on the west coast, baby. I always have to put it down,
Background being the Golden State Bridge.
and that's why I give it up for my Bay Area. I give it up. They made me. Oh well, hey, it is what it is. I am who I am because of those streets down the I-5 and the 80 and the 101, and people who they they know what them streets is about. They know what them highways about.
Hey, talk about real talk, real talk.
Hmm.
Hey, I want y'all to we're heading into our second segment, but before we get there, I want to make sure we put in that plug for Black Jewel Tarot reading. We talked about this real talk. And there's, I want to make sure to highlight that tarot reading is about speaking the spirit, hearing the messages, the real talk that you need to hear for wherever you are in your journey. And what better way to go ahead and figure out where you are, to check in, to tap in, other than to tap in with Black Jewel. The real, you're gonna get the real from multiple angles. You heard me? And so when you're ready, go ahead and make your way down to the description, book your appointment. We waiting for you, we ready for you. Always ready. We stay ready, so we ain't gotta get ready.
That's right.
So here we are, jumping into our second segment. We want to take y'all through some type of like practice. How can we follow up this strengthen ourselves? What kind of tools can we utilize?
The best tool that we could utilize is our minds and putting an intention out there, right? Like Rick James says, cocaine is a powerful drug, so don't get lost in it. Uplift it and have that intent and set it straight. I don't know why I brought that up, but it is what it is.
All I know is from Dave Chappelle.
Spirit, really? Okay, so I want us to really call into our spirit. What is it about our Black identity? How do we define it? What does it mean to us in our Black identity and strength? How did being Black and being fully identified as Black call you in? What does it speak to your spirit about? What does it do for you? And if that's not an intentional enough, what would you like it to be? if you want to change. Because like I said, nobody's accepting being native, and maybe I shouldn't say nobody, but right now I'm finding all of these initials and little short terms to redefine what we are as a people. And I just say, how come we just can't be human and honor the divinity in each one of us? Because it's been so ripped apart, where nobody wants to identify as anything, right? And we talk about, well, Chinese American and this and that. We ain't nothing in America to a lot of people, but to God, we everything. And I identify with black, and I embrace it because growing up, I lived in a black household where everything was black. The potholders were black. And I honored that. And my mother loved her black people, her sisters, her brothers, and the community. Our house was a community, and everybody was welcome. So when we identify, let's just identify with being human and bring that in, and not tear each other down anymore to whatever you want to be identified, but be identified as a human, a good human, and give that to each and every person you meet and come in contact. Look out for your brother. Look out for your sister. Pay it forward. That's strength. Mm,
Yeah, that warms me up. That feels very community oriented too, you know?
mm-hmm,
Feel like I would be supported, paying it forward.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. I like that. Well, thank you all so much for joining us again as we move from the chariot and our fool's journey to the strength. Our next episode, we're going to be talking about the hermit. But in between, in the meantime, we want to make sure to plug in our free S.O.S Lifeline meditations. They happen every Monday and Thursday. And so when you're ready, we'll be here. Again, all the information that you need to know will be down in the description below. Thank you all again for allowing us to come again with our information, with our wisdom, with our understanding of the world, with our lessons of the world.
Thank you. See you in the next episode.